Ray Brown's Talking Birds.
Made possible by the generous support of the Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod. Birdwatchersgeneralstore.com.
And by Vortex Optics with the VIP warranty, their unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. Learn more at vortexoptics.com.
And by Brome, where bird feeding meets innovation. Discover truly squirrel-proof bird feeders, all backed by lifetime care commitment. Learn more at brome.com.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening, and welcome to our show number 990. And to all the dads in the Talking Birds audience, happy Father's Day. Well, on today's show, we have an audio postcard triple play, a postcard triple play.
A rare triple play.
A rare triple play with listener-provided reports from up in Wisconsin, down in Florida, and down south of Florida, starting with Mother's Day observations by Linda in the Sunshine State. Hi, Linda.
Hello, Ray. This is Linda Badillo, celebrating Mother's Day from John Chestnut Park in Pinellas County, Florida. Hope you can hear red-eyed vireo in the background. It's been a beautiful day. Happy birding. Bye.
Thank you, Linda, for that sweet report. Now we swoop up to Wisconsin, where Leslie Andrich has a good word and a bird to share with us.
This is Leslie. I am in Mayville, Wisconsin at Ziegler Park for a morning warbler walk. And that was a very vocal Tennessee warbler singing his heart out over the river. Have a great day.
Thanks, Leslie, for that short and sweet Tennessee Warbler audio postcard. And Lori Peltz-Lewis will complete our postcard triple play from a very birdie country in Central America.
Good morning from Costa Rica. You're hearing the clay-colored thrush, house wrens, and various other birds here in Costa Rica, up near the Arenal volcano. What a beautiful morning. And we're going birding in about 30 minutes. Good morning to everybody in the United States.
All right, Lori, and good morning to you from everybody in the United States, at least some of us. Audio postcards, we're always happy to get them wherever you're looking at birds, from your front porch or your backyard or your kitchen window or anywhere you might travel to see birds. And making an audio postcard just requires a digital recording device like a smartphone and your description of birds you're seeing, 30 seconds to a minute, maybe, no specific time really, whatever works for you, and just send the audio file you create to ray@talkingbirds.com. That's ray@talkingbirds.com. And give a holler to that same address if you have questions about how to do it. If you're saying, what the heck is that? That's our mystery bird.
Is my car alarm going off?
I thought it was.
Okay.
The parking lot there,
Yeah.
But it seems to be okay. It's our mystery bird. And this is a preview of the contest coming along a little bit later in the show. This mystery bird is one of your humble host's favorites. It's long, sleek, and slender. Grayish-brown in the back and wings with rufous coloration on the wings primaries. Its bill is mostly yellow with black on the tip and on much of the upper mandible. Like the European species with which our bird shares part of its common name, it will sometimes lay its eggs in other birds' nests, although not at the level of its calamitous cousin. Our mystery bird breeds over most of the U.S., with scattered populations in the west and northwest, and it winters in South America. It feeds on caterpillars and cicadas and other insects, as well as small vertebrates like frogs and lizards. We have some wonderful prizes for the winner of our contest, including from Bird Collective and a $25 gift certificate for that vintage-inspired apparel and unique accessories, all featuring birds, and a big bag of our favorite coffee, delicious, shade-grown, bird-friendly, and truly delicious Birds and Beans coffee. We always get an alarm to highlight that Birds and Beans coffee announcement there. That's our mystery bird and some prizes and the sound of the bird and all of that, except for the contest itself, coming along a little bit later on this morning's show. As we do our show live here on the 16th of June, it's World Refill Day. That doesn't mean, you're at a watering hole and that you get no, it's not a free, no. Anyway, it's a global campaign to accelerate the transition away from single-use plastics toward refill and reuse systems. You can Google World Refill Day to learn more about it. And by the way, we'll tackle a related topic on next week's show with a guest from the Worldwide Plastic Pollution Coalition. That's on next week's show. It's a Talking Birds Ambassador's Royal Salute. Back in May, Kara from Fort Cobb, Oklahoma, became the 875th member of our Talking Birds family. Thanks again, Kara. Since then, more folks have joined the family, including Gray Wolf from Kingston, Massachusetts. Gray Wolf says, I love the outdoors and my Native American heritage Pokanoket tribe out of Providence, Rhode Island. Wow, thank you so much, Gray Wolf, for becoming a Talking Birds ambassador. And dear Talking Birds listeners, please consider joining Gray Wolf and Kara as members of our Talking Birds ambassadors family. It's the best way we can help spread the word about birds and birding and conservation. It's easy to become an ambassador and easy to sign up for, easy to become one and stay one. To become one, just go to the Get Involved tab at the top of the homepage at talkingbirds.com. There's no G in talking. Still to come today, we'll welcome a guest who's a familiar presence here at Talkin' Birds while appearing in a new guise. That's Freya McGregor. Also today, our Mike O'Connor from Cape Cod's famous Birdwatchers General Store will join us with a new installment of Let's Ask Mike live on the subject of feeder-frequenting phoebes. And up next, a thrush with a rusty red breast and a rusty red back is today's featured feathered friend. Last week's guest on our show, Dorian Anderson, pedaled nearly 18,000 miles in his bicycle big year. And 300 of those miles were devoted to a desert heat detour in search of today's featured feathered friend, the rufous-backed robin. This bird looks a lot like the familiar American robin, but with that rufous or rust-colored back that gives it its name. The rufous-backed also has a stronger throat pattern than its American cousin, as well as a brighter yellow bill and a lack of white around the eye. The shells of its eggs are also very different from those of the American robin's famously blue color. They're white with large reddish-brown patches. This elusive bird is a native of Mexico, found all along the west coast there, and it's a casual but regular visitor to the U.S. Southwest, especially in southeast Arizona, and sometimes also in Southern California, Southwest Texas, and New Mexico. The rufous-backed robin forages in treetops and on the ground, feeding on fruits, insects, and worms. It's a cool bird to see, but is spotting it worth a 300-mile bicycle trip in 90-degree desert conditions? Opinions vary. The rufous-backed robin, Turdus rufo-palliatus, today's Talkin' Birds featured feathered friend. Welcome again to our show number 990. We have two engineers today, which is probably a good thing considering, but more on that later. Freya McGregor is a disabled birder and an occupational therapist who provides consulting and training on improving access and inclusion for disabled birders through her business, Access Birding. Freya is a research associate in the DARE Human Dimensions Lab at Virginia Tech, involved in research related to access, inclusion, disability, and birding. and using birding as a therapeutic tool. She has written on these topics for Audubon, Birding, and Legacy magazines and the LA Times. And she's at work at a field guide to accessible birding in North America, to be published by Princeton University Press in 2025. And she joins us right now to tell us about the book. Good morning, Freya.
Good morning, Ray. Good to be here.
Great to have you in this new context outside of talking birds as such, and you are spreading your wings, so to speak. Tell us about this book. Give us a little overview, if you would, and its general purpose.
So there are lots of really great birding places to enjoy all over the world, right? And in the US. But the thing about many birders with disabilities is that we often need a lot more information than is usually provided about the physical accessibility of those locations to know if it's worth us, driving 2 hours or flying interstate to go and visit them. Mm-hmm. So this book is the first book that has been written specifically for birders with different access needs. And so I'm trying to highlight accessible birding in every state of the US except, sadly, Alaska and Hawaii just aren't going to make it into this first edition. But in the continental US, so places that have really wonderfully accessible trails or car birding or stationary birding, because those two styles of birding are more accessible for different people. And birding spectaculars like the sandhill cranes migrating through the Platte River in Nebraska in late March, or specialty birds like Kirtland's warblers. Like, how do you come across these experiences in a way that is accessible?
And how do you come across these places yourself in working on this book? What's the process? How do you know where to go?
Yeah, that's an ongoing challenge. The best luck I've had is when particularly birders with disabilities have told me about a place that they have visited and shared that was, really accessible for whatever access features that they remembered or that they enjoyed, or other non-disabled birders who are tuned into this kind of thing. We want, if it's a trail, we want a firm and stable surface and no steps and hopefully a couple of benches to rest on, or really great car birding or stationary options. So that's been but for sure, if someone has told me a place was worth checking out, it usually is. When it's just me trying to figure this out using the resources at my disposal, which is, by the way, the entire internet, and it's still really hard to find this information. It's just not around. My success rate when I visit these places is about 50%. So like every second place I visit just turns out to be disappointing and not quite book worthy, which is frustrating.
Well, you have what you call a dodgy knee, and a lot of people won't know what that means. Maybe you could explain that, and and with connection with that, what access do you need?
Yeah, so my dodgy knee. Yeah, I don't know if that's just Australian or
I think so.
The occupational therapist in me trying to make this more relatable. I have chondromalacia, which is fissuring in the back of the kneecap. Basically, you can't heal up cartilage. It just is what it is. It's going to get worse over time. Yay! But the management, building up the muscles around the knee, and which has taken years of very, very slow work. And then ongoing management. Ice is my friend very often, and so is sitting down. Standing is harder for me than walking. So benches are a really important access feature for me. So is knowing about the trail conditions, because rocky, uneven, and steep surfaces, steep trails, it's just a lot harder for anyone's knee to stabilize in those surfaces. So that's and length too, like how long of the trail is, firm and stable until, things change. Sometimes trails get a bit more rugged after, half a mile or something.
Smooth until it's not smooth, or flat.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not. You have on your website, you have a map showing there states that you've visited, some of them where you've found 2 accessible birding trails already, some just 1, if I have that right, and then a bunch of states that you haven't been to yet. And so you're looking for suggestions on kind of filling those in when you get to those other states, right?
Yes, please. Yeah. So that map is just sort of partly it was for my own like sense of accomplishment because this has been such a huge project. I wanted to see how far along I'd gone. Some states have more than two, but two is sort of my minimum. I do have a word limit for this book, but yeah. So I will be up in New England next week for a really quick trip. But then after that, I'm hoping there's only one more book research trip left, which will be to North and South Dakota, Wyoming, Montana, Utah, Colorado, and New Mexico. And I would love if anyone has really great car birding recommendations, like a really fantastic, bird blind or observation platform that's just wonderful, or accessible trails that they know about. I'd love to hear recommendations, suggestions. That really helps me narrow down what birds are special. What time of year do big, exciting birding experiences happen? Maybe there's massive overwintering flocks of snow geese or big flocks of roosting red-winged blackbirds. Maybe not in those states. Maybe the shorebird migration is particularly spectacular at this one spot. So I'd love to hear from folks your recommendations as I'm planning that trip.
All right, and how do they do it? How do they get the recommendations to you?
So my website is freyamcgregor.com. That's hard to remember sometimes. So my Instagram handle is at the.ot.birder, OT for occupational therapist. And so that's my website. Another version of my website is theotbirder.com, a few less letters. It'll take you to exactly the same place. And you can click on book at the top and then send me in your recommendations that way.
All right. We're almost out of time, but all this stuff you're doing requires some funds. You started a GoFundMe for this. How do folks get in touch with that?
Yeah, this is a really expensive process. All this travel, even though I'm camping and eating peanut butter sandwiches for lunch and trying my thriftiest to keep my book advance stretching as far as possible, it's already run out. But the GoFundMe, yeah, if anyone, there's no pressure at all, but some folks have asked how they can support me in this work. And so, $20 here or there, it really does help me pay for campsites and stuff without digging further into my own pocket, which has happened a lot. So yeah, the GoFundMe you can get to through my website as well, theotbirder.com, and there's a link there to the GoFundMe.
Okay. And I'll suggest, too, a really easy way to do it is just do a search or just Google OT Birder, OT for occupational therapist, OT Birder, and you'll find Freya and all of that. A field guide to accessible birding in North America, to be published by Princeton University Press in 2025. And again, Instagram with Freya, if I have this right, at the.ot.birder. Freya, I'll let you get back to work on your book. We look forward to hearing about progress updates, and thanks for being a guest on the show.
Thanks, Ray. Happy birding, y'all.
Freya McGregor here on Talking Birds, and up next, it's our Mystery Bird contest in just 1 minute. The flutter of a tail feather, the flash of a wing bar in mid-flight. You don't always have a lot of time to identify a bird in nature, let alone to appreciate its beauty. But with Vortex Optics, you'll have the power to bring every wild moment closer. When you choose Vortex, you're choosing to have a partner in the field as passionate about nature as you are. Whether you're spotting old friends on the backyard feeder or packing for a once-in-a-lifetime trip to add a few species to your life list, Vortex offers a full range of optics and optics accessories for every birder and every budget. And whether the birds are taking you to another state or another country, you're always covered by the Vortex VIP warranty, an unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. If you'd like to learn more, or if you need help choosing your next optic, give Vortex a call at 1-800-4VORTEX or visit vortexoptics.com. All right, we're at the Mystery Bird Contest proper, I guess you might say, which means we're actually doing the process of the Mystery Bird Contest. That's what I'm trying to say, or I'm not sure if I said that, but I know what I meant.
We knew what you meant, Ray. You're all right.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's okay. Keep going.
Thank you, Tim.
You're welcome.
So the Mystery Bird Contest, the most important thing is to get the number here to call us with your guess or your definitive answer. No correct answer always means a drawing so that we can get a winner, regardless of whether we get an exact answer. 781-837-4900 is that number, 781-837-4900. We'll give it again, but first, clues. Our mystery bird is long, sleek, and slender, grayish-brown on the back and wings, with rufous coloration on the wings' primaries. Its bill is mostly yellow, with black on the tip and on much of the upper mandible. Like the European species with which our bird shares part of its common name, it will sometimes lay its eggs in other birds' nests, although not at the level of that European bird. Our mystery bird breeds over most of the U.S., with scattered populations in the west and northwest. It winters in South America. It feeds on caterpillars and cicadas and other insects, as well as on small vertebrates like frogs and lizards. Prizes on our show, on our Mystery Bird Contest, that is, a $25 gift certificate for Bird Collective. They have wonderful stuff. It's your one-stop shop for vintage-inspired apparel and unique accessories, all featuring birds. They're at birdcollective.com. And a big bag of our favorite coffee, shade-grown, bird-friendly, and delicious Birds and Beans coffee, grown under the natural forest canopy in Central America to preserve wintering habitat for warblers and tanagers and thrushes and hummingbirds and more of the birds that we all love. So some beautiful prizes on our contest, and all you have to do is call us and tell us what you think that bird is, and you could win with the right answer or maybe not the right answer. Here's that number once again. It's 781-837-4900. Please do call us as soon as you can. Meanwhile, we'll check in with Mike O'Connor. It's Let's Ask Mike live in just 1 minute.
Welcome to a world where bird feeding is enjoyable for both you and your feathered friends. Introducing Squirrel Buster Bird Feeders by Brome. Our innovative feeders are designed to keep squirrels at bay, ensuring that your garden birds get their fair share. And the best part? We offer lifetime care for every feeder, making your purchase worry-free. Transform your garden into a bird paradise and keep it that way forever. Sorry, squirrels, it's just for the birds this time. Visit Brome.com, BROME.com, to discover our full range of Squirrel Buster feeders and join the Brome family today. Brome, where birds come first, and our commitment to you lasts a lifetime.
Mike O'Connor is down there at the Birdwatchers General Store, the famous Birdwatchers General Store, Cape Cod, Massachusetts, joining us here for Let's Ask Mike. And we all know that phoebes don't come to feeders, right, Mike?
No, that's absolutely right. Yeah. Right. Don't even think about it.
No. Well, you try to.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say you tried to teach a young bird student kind of that fact, and what happened?
It didn't go my way. I can tell you that. It didn't go my way. Yeah, I mean, all day long we get questions, and we have to, a lot of times it's newbie birders, and we have to give them right advice. A lot of people want to buy a birdhouse, say for a cardinal, and I have to tell them cardinals don't use cavities or birdhouses or nest boxes. They build their own little cup nest in a bush or a shrub or something. And I have a new employee, kind of a newbie birder also, and she says, "Oh, I have phoebes coming to my feeder." And I said, "Oh, well, it's a gray bird, but it's probably maybe a junco or something like that." Because we all know phoebes are fly catchers. They sit on a branch and fly out and grab insects and go back, and that's how they earn their living. And then, like all people these days, she took out her cell phone and showed me a video of phoebes coming to her feeder. And so kind of in my face. And it turns out she had a little stick-on window feeder, a little cup window feeder, and she had it filled with mealworms, hoped to get maybe Carolina wrens or some bluebirds, and instead she was getting phoebes, and had to apologize, of course. And then I looked around, and yeah, there's not a lot, but there's some evidence around the internet showing other phoebes have found mealworms, and they come and eat the mealworms. Now, phoebes, this was the eastern phoebe, and which lives in this east, they say, half of the United States, but there's other phoebes. There's black phoebes in the west, and there's sage phoebes in the west. Sage phoebes, I'm sure it's going to get its name changed, but that's what it is now. And they also will come, apparently, to mealworms if they're put out there. They also come a more reliable way, or a better way to get phoebes is these little, what they call shells, nest shells, and basically they look like a birdhouse, but with no front at all. It's just this shelf that you would put under an eave, because phoebes like to come to buildings, and if you put a little shelf under an eave or under a porch, they'll come and build on those. And it's a little late perhaps this year, but they recommend that you get them out early, so it doesn't hurt to put it out now or when you think of it. And they like they like to build them with mud. So next spring, if you have a shelf, put a little mud patch in there, like you would for like a barn swallow, or a robin, and they'll come and scoop up the mud and hopefully build a nest. But you can do mealworms. The important thing about mealworms is this time of year you should use live mealworms, because the babies depend on the moisture from the nestlings depend on moisture. And the rest of the year, probably the dry ones are fine. But this time of year, use live mealworms if you're into mealworms at all. And that's all I got to say, and happy Father's Day, all the dads out there.
All right. I want you to know I believed everything you said, Mike. Absolutely. No hesitation.
Thanks, man. I knew I could depend on you.
Talk to you next week.
Okay, bye.
Mike O'Connor there on the famous, or from the famous Birdwatchers General Store on the Let's Ask Mike Live segment. But now we're back at the mystery bird. Shall we hear the bird one more time? I think we will. There it is, in fact. 781-837-4900 is the number to call if you'd like to take a guess at what that bird is, or tell us in a definitive manner. Okay. Who's chuckling? I hear somebody chuckling that
that might. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ray. I don't worry. You're doing wonderful. Keep going.
You go ahead and chuckle.
Well, that wasn't me chuckling. I think that might be one of our contestants.
One of our contestants
yes.
is chuckling. All right,
yes.
Let's see if we can find out. Maybe it was Carolyn in California, I think.
It was.
Oh, that's okay. You can let us in on the joke if you like, or you don't have to.
Well, it's just the bird is just. I love that voice. You hardly ever hear it. And my son had one in his yard back in New York, and he was FaceTiming, and I got to hear it over the phone. And I usually hear it in Iowa, but yeah, it's just a really beautiful bird. I agree.
Yeah. Well, you sound like you know what that bird is, as a matter of fact.
Well, yeah. I'm thinking it's a yellow-billed cuckoo.
Yeah. You knew that it was a yellow-billed cuckoo. The bells are ringing. We're chuckling. We're applauding. Absolutely right. Yellow-billed cuckoo is the bird, and a beautiful one it is too. Carolyn, thank you so much. And if you'll stay on the line, we'll get your info, and Tim, if he feels like it, will send arrange to get all those prizes to you.
I'll be more than happy to send those out to California.
There
Absolutely.
And he's not chuckling.
Thank you so much, Ray.
Thank you, Carolyn. Carolyn out in California, correctly identifying the yellow-billed cuckoo as our mystery bird. That's a bird that, yes, sometimes lays its eggs in the nests of other birds, including the black-billed cuckoo. But then again, sometimes the black-billed cuckoo will lay its eggs in the nest of a yellow-billed cuckoo. So I guess that's
pretty cuckoo.
It's kind of weird. It is cuckoo.
Yeah.
Next week on our show, Plastic Pollution Coalition co-founder Lisa Boyle will join us to explain why drinking water from plastic bottles is not a good idea. Thanks for our wonderful Talking Birds team, and including our special engineer this week, our man Tim McKinney. Thanks for listening, and see you next week.
The Bird Show. I like that. I love it.
Ray Brown's Talking Birds.
Made possible by the generous support of the Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod. Birdwatchersgeneralstore.com.
And by Vortex Optics, with the VIP warranty, their unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. Learn more at vortexoptics.com.
And by Brome, where bird feeding meets innovation. Discover truly squirrel-proof bird feeders, all backed by lifetime care commitment. Learn more at brome.com.